So Rick Barry goes on an epic rant about his era versus today's era. I just want to see what he says. Like I don't even know what the fuck he said. Like dead ass. So
this generation get very, very disrespectful when it comes to, you know, that era. And they always say like, oh, well, Wilt Chamberlain, even if he did put up 100, it was against plumbers.
But please, the plumbers. Are you kidding me? They had so many great centers back in those. They hardly have centers. The guys that are centers now, they're not centers.
Oh, shit.
I mean, they play on the wing. They're all wanting to shoot 3-point shots. I mean, they don't block shots. They don't protect the rim. It's a different game. People don't understand. I've had many people say, well, Rick, you know, you guys wouldn't be able to play with these guys today. I said, okay, what drugs are you on? Okay,
shit.
You got a problem. Because if you really understood the game, you really knew what the difference was between when we played and the guys playing here, we had nothing to help us. I didn't have an agility coach. I didn't have a dietitian. I didn't travel on charter planes so that we could get a good night's sleep and get to the next city and have a nice day.
Oh, shit.
We drove ourselves around in rental cars. I mean, we had $8 a day per diem. These guys get, you know, chartered food on their planes. We didn't have whirlpools, and we didn't have saunas, and we didn't have masseuses, and we didn't have any of that. If I played today, I would be faster.
Oh.
And I was pretty fast, okay, and quick.
It's a funny ass picture.
I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, jump higher. I would be so much better a basketball player because I had none of those things available to me. It's absolutely crazy how much better the guys that I played with, the Oscar Robertsons, the Jerry West, all of us, as good as we were, would be even greater playing today.
Wow.
Hey, hot take. But he's low-key spitting, man. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, he's low-key spitting. I always say this about, like, comparing players throughout eras. You can really only look at it in two ways. You take a time machine. Take Rick Barry from the 1960s. Put them in the time machine. Boom. Drop him in an NBA game today. How will he play? And I think even with Rick Barry's explanation, he would say, yo, if you just drop me in an NBA game today, yeah, you got a point. He didn't directly say it, but yeah, you got a point. That's essentially what he said. But what he's saying is, I think it's unfair to older players to say, I mean, if I was born in, let's say, 1990, and I grew up seeing the Kobe Bryants of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, the Dirks of the world, the Kevin Garnetts of the world play basketball. I see how people are being trained to play basketball. I see where the game is heading. I see where, you know what I'm saying, the moves that are effective, this, that, and the third. To say that I'd be, for 20 years of my life, 18 years of my life, I'd just be blind to that and not adapt my game is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So the conversation about, like, how good would Michael Jordan be in today's game? If you drop 1992 MJ in today's NBA, I personally still think he might arguably be the best player in the league still. Just, you know, just a drag and drop type shit. At worst, I still think he's a top 5 player. But even that, I feel like that's unfair to Jordan, because if Jordan, again, was born in 1984, the same year LeBron was born in 1990 or whatever the fuck the age is, and he saw all these threes being shot, you think like Jordan would just, nah, I'ma just be a mid-range menace still the whole time. So, you know, that's essentially why I think it's not a bad take. It's not a bad take. The only thing I don't like about this argument is the fact that when it's the reverse situation, and when it's, yo, how would Steph Curry do in our era? They never, for some reason, because of how the logic works, it's always older players get better in today's era, but people in today's era could not hang with y'all back in the day. And that's the only thing, and that's the main thing I really hate about this conversation, and even how Rick Barry put it. Because if someone asked him, yo, how would Giannis play in your era? This motherfucker would probably say, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Giannis wouldn't be Giannis in our era. You know what I'm saying? That dribbling up the ball thing that he be doing, that's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna push him out the way. We're gonna push him out the way for real. Like, all right, buddy. And at that point, I feel like you're being unfair to newer players. But also, there's some credence to it. Like, that's like, if Steph Curry, if we're doing the same logic, if Steph Curry was born in 1938, why would he not play like Bob Cousy? Who would be his point of reference? Who would be his inspirations for Steph Curry to play like Steph Curry in 2023, in 2016? There would not be a point of reference. He would probably just play like Oscar Robertson, Bob Cousy, and Jerry West. And playing like Oscar Robertson and Jerry West is like on the high end of things. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting conversation. Ultimately, both arguments don't make sense. And ultimately, I think it's just going to show what your biases are depending on how you explain these cross-era conversations. But Rick Barry doesn't make a bad point, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's not the worst take in the world. You know, I do want to see the quote retweets though, because another quote retweets was a lot. You know, Curry would be the reference, I guess, but that's given a lot of like butterfly effect. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking about how his life would turn out, thinking about his mindset and his innate creativity with the bass. Like, come on, bro. Like, at that point, we're just bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? You're just making... All of this is already hypothetical, but that's like a hypothetical within the hypothetical. Like, all right, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. Let's see what the replies are. Number one, he's right. Like, genuinely, he's right. Number two, look at Joy, man. All right. Okay, buddy. Okay. Let's see. Hey, shout out to Joy though, because she has been getting some really big interviews. I think she interviewed Dr. J a couple weeks ago. So I don't know who her connect is, but she be getting these big ass interviews. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Too bad, Rick." Let's go to the quote retweets. I think the quote retweets is really what's cooking. NBA legend Rick Barry spitting nothing but truth about something that should really be common sense. Many people who talk basketball on social media think you could just copy and paste modern players in that era and they'd be the same guy. It's the absence of basic common sense. It just depends on the conversation you're having, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Just if someone asks you, yo, how would Rick Barry play in this era? Just ask them, like, are we talking about just dragging and dropping him? Or is he gonna born in 1980 and with his, that type of shit. So, I don't think it's a lack of common sense. It just depends on the conversation that you're having. Rick G says, this man dominated 3 different levels of basketball: college, ABA, NBA. He is in the best shooter of all time conversation. I don't know about that. He did all of his on the hard rim. Great passer IQ through the roof. Today, his skill set, he would be a beast. Barry was Bird before Bird. Barry gave Warriors fans a chip with no other dude, just great teammates. What? All right, shaboing boing. Rick G, you're shaboing boinging now. Jesus Christ. Gowie says, Rick Barry kept it too real. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and other greats from the 60s were hooping in chucks. The sneaker technology of today alone would have extended their careers and enhanced their performances. Yeah, I mean, all of these are good points. All of these are good points. And even just, the rules. Because I believe, like in the 60s and the 50s, the reason why when you watch tape back then, it would just be a lot of this dribbling is because the how they called carries back then was very, very strict compared to now, where sometimes you can just fully get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go like this and then put it back down, or like, just even a this and put it back down. But I think back then, like the way they would call it, like anything aside from a horizontal up and down was a carry. So you could do something like this, and then you go like this, and that's a carry type shit. So it's like, okay, with those rules, how the fuck was they, how was they going to pull off the hezzy crosses? Like, you literally couldn't. You literally couldn't. It's just a different era. And that's why I always give credit to the blueprint setters. I always give credit to the blueprint setters. Now, I think there is a line, and ultimately, I think in these discussions, we also just got to accept the biases that we got, to be honest with you. At this point, like, yo, there is a line where it's like, yo, stop being objective, bruh. Stop. Stop trying to be Mr. Objective. Stop trying to be the smartest in the room. If you are really trying to be Mr. Objective, you know that this conversation is highly subjective. You know that this conversation is highly hypothetical. So let's just lean towards our biases and just say, yo, you don't really fuck with these old players. And, you have biases towards current players compared to old players. That's it. That's it. If you're really trying to be the least biased possible, that is actually the least biased stance to take. Is just to admit that bias exists. Type shit and things of that nature. But yeah, shout out to Joy. Shout out to Joy for the tweet.